This is King Orange, or Dark Acolyte, depending on, you know, which avenue you're looking at this from. Back again for another video, and here we are on part 2 of Halo Campaign Evolved playthrough. So we're going to go ahead and get ourselves started with the second mission, Halo. And since we got a couple of the skulls from last time, I'm going to go ahead and equip one of them. I hope that works. And I'm just gonna get the 60 round AR, because I would, you know, like to be able, well, maybe not. Maybe I won't do that. I guess I should probably just wait and do a second playthrough. You know. But, yeah. Yeah, no, screw it, I'm doing it. I think. Yeah. I'll go ahead and do it, because that kind of, because, you know, I kind of want to have that element from the original game a little bit, because as far as I'm concerned, 60 round AR is kind of part of the aesthetic of the game. So we're going to have fun with that. And, yeah. We'll be going in. So with that out of the way, let's get started. So we got the cutscene, same as last time. Alrighty.
Chief, can you hear me?
Ah, that feels better.
Are you all right? Can you move?
Alrighty.
The others.
And then here we are.
There's nothing we can do.
Here we are on the Halo ring. In all of its glory. Wow. So see, this, I kind of freely confess, definitely captures the general vibe and essence of the original game. More so than what the Anniversary did. Especially with this kind of like a lot of the greens and blue tints. But Anniversary kind of did a lot of yellow and orange tints for this level. Oh, right. Fire. Alrighty. Alrighty, we'll go ahead and move on.
Alert! Covenant dropship inbound. They must be looking for survivors. I recommend immediate evasion.
Alright. So, alright, I'll just sprint this along. So, I have a very
incoming Banshee fighters.
I'm very much of two minds of sprint in this game. Because on one hand, I can see the argument of people saying that, oh, you know, like, Halo Campaign Evolved, like, you know, the original Combat Evolved's a big game. There's a lot of traversal to do. And so, you know, understandably, there's kind of, like, it is understandable from that perspective. You know? But then, on the other hand, it kind of takes away both from the pacing of the game, because the thing I've noticed so far, both with the Pillar of Autumn and even this level, just from everything I've been seeing so far, which at some point I'll probably come back and do a little bit of skull hunting when I can. But
a lifeboat beacon over the next hill. We should check to see if there are any survivors.
But it's kind of like the issue of, like, you know, because this genuinely has like a pretty nice environment.
We would appreciate any assistance.
But it's kind of like it's sort of the genuine problem of, well, you know, is that when you have something like Sprint, the environments are not really, a lot of them, especially in the indoor areas, are not really designed for them in mind.
Good to see you, sir. I thought we were the only ones who made it off the Pillar of Autumn.
Good to see you, sir. Welcome to the party.
It's a mess, sir. We're scattered all over this valley. We called for evac, but until you showed up, I thought we were cooked.
Don't worry, Sergeant. We'll stay here until evac arrives.
I mean, that said it okay.
Warning, I have detected multiple Covenant dropships on approach.
Where's, okay, so there's their guns. I'm gonna start trying out, like, the Marines' ability to, like, switch guns. Because I want to be able to utilize that. But yeah, I mean, like, sprint in this game is kind of, I'm very much of two minds. If anything, I think the biggest problem is that it shouldn't have been the default mechanic. Because the thing is I have seen gameplay from other people where, like, certain gameplay encounters can kind of be broken because of sprint. Because it allows people to just kind of bypass entire gameplay sequences when it shouldn't work like that. Oh, freak. Gotta run. See, even, like, stuff like this, like, as much as, you know, I'm sure many people will go, oh, that's super useful as a combat mechanic, but see, it's like, because of that, I was just able to very easily escape an encounter that was my own fault because of bad positioning. So, and I feel like especially because the AI is already, from what I've seen, the AI in a lot of places is kind of dumbed down a little bit compared to the original version. It can kind of make that feel incredibly jarring. So, it's just, I don't know, it's, see, in that area, it's just, it's a little strange. Yeah, and I don't notice a lot of changes within the level design, which it's kind of both good and bad. Like, the good part about it is that in that regard, like, the general scenery and environment is for the most part pretty faithful to the original. Like the natural terrain looks really nice, the skybox looks good. The Forerunner architecture is still very pulled from Halo Infinite a little bit, where I'm still not 100% fond about 343's, or I guess Halo Studios now, like, their weird insistence on making the Forerunner structures just as shiny as possible. Especially on the outdoor areas, I feel like making them more weathered down kind of adds to the general aesthetic a little bit more of kind of like, oh, these are structures of an ancient civilization that has been gone for a long time. However, you are going to still hear me say this a lot, is like, even if this doesn't have the same, even if these structures don't look as good as the original game, because they just don't, they probably still, I don't know. I don't know if I'd say the Forerunner structures even look better than Anniversary. I mean, in some areas it might, just because it doesn't seem as over-designed as the Anniversary, but, you know, yeah, it's just, I don't know how I feel in that regard. And see, even in regards to just this, like, okay. Guess he just, I mean, grunts are, you know, supposed to cower in fear, so I'm not that worried about that, but yeah. There are elements of this that do feel kind of dumbed down in comparison to the original game. Like, none of these guys are really moving into cover at all. There's I don't know. I feel like the Elite AI especially has kind of had a weird kind of downgrade a little bit. And God forbid I don't like these markers.
Area secure.
Okay. Let's go upstairs and restock on some ammo, because if this is anything like the original game, it will likely have Magnum ammo.
Look,
somewhere.
more lifeboats. They're coming in fast.
Okay, yeah.
Those lifeboats make it down. The Covenant are going to
Yep,
be
funny
right on
thing,
top of
I
them.
was right.
So, Hammer,
Okay.
we need you to disengage your warthog. The Master Chief and I are going to see if we can save some soldiers. Roger, Cortana. The
Alright.
Master Chief
Let's,
and I need some help. Can you spare a few men?
Yeah, see, like, like I said, for stuff like this, where if it's just mundane, close the gap type stuff, I can actually enjoy Sprint quite a bit for those kind of sequences. But it's for, like, actual gameplay encounters where, like, you're in combat and stuff that I'm kind of just like, no.
We need to find where the lifeboats landed. My topographical scans indicate a subterranean passage nearby. It looks like our best route out of this valley.
Alright, well, finally we have the Warthog sequencing. So, we'll see how that goes. I mean, generally speaking, these environments look really freaking nice. And I do want to emphasize that, because I do want to give credit to this game where it's due. Aside from the texture popping issues that are pretty common associated with Unreal 5, this is like a genuinely nice looking game. And kind of miles ahead of how Halo Infinite looked. So, you know, there is a lot of good stuff going for the game on that end. It's just... And the skybox is very nice, the environment's very good. Like, this is how you would picture the original CE looking with today's hardware. And it's much more consistent with the general art style of that game than CE Anniversary was.
This cave
However,
is not a natural
so on one
formation.
hand,
Someone built it, so it must lead somewhere.
I mean, yeah, these forward
Perhaps into
restrictions
the
I'm still kind of like,
Covenant They're
but
actually
it's
broadcasting
whatever.
tactical data on unencrypted channels. We should
So, like-
check who they're dealing with.
So it's like,
Master
on
Chief,
one
I'm gonna
hand,
use your
I-
site's transcom system to monitor their chatter.
So, like, see, on one hand, I do
This
enjoy
lab center
the
security
look
is
and
bonus.
style of
I
this
should be able
game
to analyze their
quite a
defensive
bit,
systems. I'll
and,
alert you
you
when
know,
I
we'll
find
see how
something of
this room
interest.
looks. Yeah, like, see, even this room, like, this is much darker and still generally fits the vibe of kind of the tone of the original. While with CE Anniversary, this was, like, extremely lit up. I would still say they could probably have taken a step even further to still make it a little darker, just from everything I'm seeing. But at least with this, it comes across like the environments are actually dark, and it's just lit up a little bit. While with CE Anniversary, it kind of felt like you had an active, giant lamp following everywhere in the game.
I'm clear.
So... like, see, just... even this kind of, like, vibe has just a little bit more eeriness than CE Anniversary. Like I said, I still feel like they could have gone farther with making it look even darker, but it's not so hyper illuminated like it was in Combat Evolved Anniversary. So, you know, again, has some of that eeriness a little bit. Oh, no cutscene? Wow. That was kind of anticlimactic a little bit. But yeah, I mean, the general look of this game is pretty neat, and you know, like the way most things look. Again, I think the Forerunner structures so far are kind of like my sole exception to this. But like everything else in this game looks pretty darn nice from an artistic perspective. Even the elite designs. While I'm not necessarily fond that they, ooh, this light bridge is pretty darn good looking. While I'm not necessarily fond of the fact that they just ported over a lot from Halo Infinite, at the same time, I'm just looking around seeing if there's any skulls around or something that I missed. If anyone knows any skull locations in these levels during my first playthrough, by the way, I will happily know them for the second playthrough.
The captain really gave them hell. If we can find Captain Keyes and the other survivors, we have a chance to coordinate an effective resistance.
Echo 419 to Cortana, come in.
I also mentioned the pathway is much more sensible here this time.
One near a
And,
bonfire,
oh my goodness.
one near the cliff edge, and another near the head of the river. Hard to see from my altitude, but it looks like there are survivors.
Like I said, the markers, like the nav markers, I'm not super fond of, but again, credit where it's due. This does look like really darn good. Like artistically, this does fit the vibe, and as I mentioned, even with the Halo Elite designs and stuff. Again, while I'm not necessarily fond of them looking so much like Halo Infinite as a whole, and I feel like they could have made them look a little more consistent with CE, at the same time, at least Halo Infinite's art style is less jarring. It's less jarring than it is it's less jarring to Halo CE's art style than a game like Halo Reach is. Alright, let's check out this area. So we got some ammo, some stuff. Oh, sniper rifle. Okay. Yeah, we will utilize that because I think I got a good idea on what I want to do.
Hell yeah!
I think I'm gonna give the Marine the snipe. I think I'll give the Marine the sniper rifle, and he can use that. See, that is a quality of life improvement I do like about this game, is that you can do a lot of the things you could do in Halo 2 onwards, like changing weapons with your allies and vehicle jacking and that kind of thing.
Signals beyond that marker.
Like, that's genuinely really nice. Like, those are genuinely really good quality of life improvements.
There are some Marines hiding in the hills above the structure.
Fire! Keep that up and don't run attitude. I gotta be. Fish in a barrel.
Alright, let's get to work. And, you know, for better and for worse, this, you know, has pretty much almost the exact same kind of environments as the original. Like, there's sometimes small geometry differences, but they're pretty few and far. But, oh, gosh. Okay. That is not good. Ow, ow.
Under fire! Heretics attack!
Watch out! Grenade!
Enemy partner!
Stand by, Marines. I've called Echo 419 for evac. We should dust off shortly.
Roger that. Marines! Assemble for
See, even
evac.
details like this, like the plasma marks and stuff, is like, that's, all things considered, pretty darn nice. That is, like, just generally speaking, a pretty darn nice look aesthetic. And so it is hard to complain about stuff like that. So, you know. I think... Alrighty. Let's go ahead and move on to the next spot. See, what's gonna be weird is I almost find just everything I'm seeing in this game so far is strange to me. Because it almost comes across like just everything I've been feeling about this game so far and what I'm seeing is that this game almost comes across like it's gonna end up having the near opposite problem that CE Anniversary did. Where CE Anniversary really, I mean, the gameplay for better and for worse was pretty much identical to the original. So, you know, so the combat loop was still good. Everything was good on that end.
Sounds like we made quite an impression.
But the artistic way that most environments looked and how all this stuff was generally pretty bad. This game, on the other hand, has a really darn good art look. But it's like, unfortunately, you know, with the exception of the quality of life improvements, such as the, with the exception of the quality of life improvements, like the weapons, like the weapon trading and vehicle jacking and everything else, and from what I've also heard, a couple of different enemies are added here too, like, you know, since the beam rifles in the game, there's like now jackal snipers. But like, see, the problem is like, with those sole exceptions, the gameplay, unfortunately, is kind of... And again, I do want to double emphasize, I'm not saying the gameplay is bad. I want to really double emphasize that. Like, it is still fun... Oh, Marine, get out of the way. Like, it is genuinely still pretty fun. But it's just also... I can't help but feel like it is dumbed down in most areas compared to the original. And it's unfortunate. I wish I didn't have to say that. Because, you know, I genuinely love, and I want to emphasize that word, I genuinely love the original game. Alright, let's try the beam rifle out. Okay. Okay. This is pretty neat. Okay. How am I missing that? God, I'm awful. But, you know. Alright, time for me to pull the classic weapon juggling. I do love weapon juggling with a square passion.
Enemy dropship. Got me an itchy trigger finger.
Okay. Oh gosh. Running away. Okay. And like I said, this is kind of, once again, my proof of oh. Okay, my gunner's down. That's unfortunate.
Dropship inbound.
She's running like a dream. Thank you.
You're welcome. No, no. You take passenger. Hold on. Okay, this Marine is busy suffering a stroke. So, I don't know what the deal with that is, but whatever. And yeah, but the art style, like, genuinely looks pretty nice. I mean, even the Chief's armor itself looks very freaking good. Like, compared to how it did in the Anniversary, where it kind of looked a little awkward in there. Well, in this, it genuinely does look like a modern interpretation of the original.
I'll give you a nav point to the beacon.
So, I mean, stuff like that is nice.
I've picked up reports that the Covenant have located and secured the Pillar of Autumn's crash site.
Damn it, I didn't
Good
think
news
about
is
that.
Captain is still alive. The bad news is that the Covenant have captured the entire surviving command.
Hurry up. God damn it. No. Why are you guys being like this?
Can do. Pedal to the metal.
What? Where's the guy with the beam? Oh, for fuck's sake. Whatever.
Oh, thanks.
Here, take the sniper, get in the hog. Thank you. Get in the fucking hog. Jeez Louise. But yeah, like, certain elements of this game does genuinely really work well. Like, I enjoy the quality of life improvements so far. And I enjoy the additional enemies, like the jackal snipers, even if, you know, which I'm sure are probably more dangerous if you play on, like, the higher difficulties. But that said, you know, even though there are a lot of quality of life improvements, there's also just, again, a lot of areas where the game is just kind of dumbed down, where it plays, like, it just genuinely seems like less challenging than the original game. And again, and I'm not trying to compare apples to oranges here, because, you know, I can't go by my live stream since I was playing the first game on Legendary. Like, of course it's going to be harder there. But even playing the first game on, like, easy or normal, I don't know. It's just the AI in the combat encounters just felt more dynamic. And maybe I need to replay the first 2 levels again on normal just to make sure I'm not, like, gaslighting myself into thinking that, you know, trying to make sure I'm not misremembering things, but that's just genuinely how it felt. Because I replayed the first 5 levels of Combat Evolved probably more times than almost any other Halo experience, aside from maybe some of the levels of Halo 3. So, I don't know. I feel like I know what I'm talking about with this, where it just doesn't seem like the enemies are quite as dynamic, quite as, you know. Like, see, even this, like, the Elite had a good opportunity to do, like, a really good sneak attack melee or something, but it didn't take it. It just kind of, it didn't even bother stopping and shooting me while my back was turned, which is weird. You would think that it would do that, like it wouldn't just reveal itself to me out of nowhere. And see, even the overcharged plasma pistol. So it's just, this game just genuinely doesn't have the same difficulty curve, I feel like, that the original did. Which means, as much as this is fun, I'm not suggesting this isn't fun to play, it is. But I don't know how much this combat loop by itself is going to be able to carry the game's replay value. So, I don't know. It's difficult to say, really. Alright, let's go back upstairs. Alright.
Echo 419 to Cortana. 4 hammers on station and ready for another pickup. New traffic on the Covenant battle net.
Alright, and this marks the end of the second mission. So... Alrighty, that marks the end of the second mission. So... Yeah, I mean... It is interesting because, like I said, it's... If I were to say my impressions just based on these overall 2 levels, I like the art design of the game a lot. It really does feel like that in that sense, for the most part, Halo Studios kind of learned from their mistakes with CE Anniversary. Because, I mean, I look at it and it doesn't feel jarring. It doesn't feel like I'm playing something that is completely thematically devoid from the original game. Like, a lot of these levels with both the Pillar of Autumn and Halo genuinely do feel like, from an artistic perspective, are modern interpretations of the original levels from from the original CE, from an artistic perspective. So in that sense, I really do like the game just from the artsy standpoint. And again, I enjoyed the quality of life improvements, like, and it's nice that they're expanding the sandbox in a way that's kind of like, you know, I haven't experienced all of them yet, like the Sentinel Beam or the Fuel Rod Gun or Energy Sword yet. But it's nice that they are adding in kind of these other weapons that, you know, add to the vibe a little bit. Like having Jackal Snipers is cool. It's nice to have that. Except for Jackal Snipers of Halo 2 on Legendary. They can fucking die. But, you know, so on one hand, I do enjoy the improvements on that. But then on the other hand, it also just feels very... There's just a lot of things about it that feel generally off. Like, I think the voice performances can be very mixed. I think, despite the Unreal 5 looking good on a technical level in a lot of places, it also does suffer from the inconsistent textures and a bit of the cutscene stuttering, which is kind of unfortunate. And some of those things I do expect will probably get fixed in like a week 1 patch or something. But, you know, that's just kind of what I'm taking away from it so far. And then again, the one thing that I think is a more permanent is that sorry, my thing disconnected. It's just the Covenant and even a little bit of the Marine AI. I don't know. With the Marines, it's hard to say. But at least with the Covenant AI, it feels very dumbed down. Like, they're not making moves as tactically and smart as they were in the original game. The elites especially tend to just kind of want to just engage you in the open head on. Which is kind of, like, that's just never how elites were kind of meant to be. Like, the elites were meant to be, you know, kind of, again, I think as Bungie noted many times in the original game, the elites were essentially meant to operate as the player's equal. Like, everything you could do, they could do, and the more important gesture is that the elites were fighting just as smart and tactically as you were. They were also using the full range of the sandbox to try to kill you. They would often evade, they would get into cover, they would do coordinated tactics. Like, I think if you saw, which, again, I know it's not a completely fair comparison, but I think, and it's not even the lethality of it that I'm calling out, it's just the AI use, is there's one sequence in my Legendary playthrough on the first level that kind of proves this point, where it's like I'm engaging 3 elites, 2 minors and 1 major, and literally as I'm like retreating in, trying to let my shields recharge, it's like they're kind of like doing multi-way bum rushes where the 2 minors are rushing me first, depleting my shields even further, and then as soon as I kill them, my shields are like completely down, I'm fully vulnerable, and then the major goes in and tries to get a quick kill out of me, you know, while I'm like trying to fall back. So there's kind of this very, I think the best word I could put it is, there's this very push-pull dynamic with the original CE. And I just kind of don't really feel that here, and I do wonder if mechanics like sprint are part of the reason why I don't feel that, because I can kind of engage I can kind of escape bad situations a lot easier here than I could in the original CE. So I don't know, maybe that's a contributing problem. And again, I'm trying not to be unfair with the difficulty comparison. But it's like, again, if you play the original CE, even on easy or normal, the AI still kind of has those patterns and behaviors. They may be less lethal and maybe the aggression is toned down a little bit, but just their general, like, attitude of trying to evade, you know, getting killed easily, using a lot of cover, having, you know, flank tactics, like, those are pretty consistent regardless of what difficulty you're playing on. While, again, I feel like the problem with this game is the AI just doesn't feel like that. And I don't know, it just, I think that is the biggest thing working against this game so far, is I do wish the Covenant AI was just a little bit better and more engaging. And that's why I said, I think if these first two levels are anything to go by, I think this game almost, again, suffers the opposite problem that CE Anniversary did, where CE Anniversary still had the same gameplay as the original. So the gameplay in terms of the, you know, the gameplay encounters and the, I don't know what I called it. I don't remember what I called it, but like the core encounters, you know, were still fine, but the art style just did not fit it, and it looked kind of shitty in that sense. While with this game, the art style's fixed, but the gameplay is kind of, again, dumbed down. So I think what I'm secretly praying for is just someone take the fucking graphics of this and integrate it as a second remaster of the original game. I'm not even saying Halo Studios has to do it officially, but just someone mod that shit. I don't know. But that's my impression so far based on... So, next we'll be doing the Truth and Reconciliation. So, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, consider giving it a like, subscribing, leaving a comment, follow me on Twitch, and until next time, I'll bid you farewell. Peace.